Hey guys, and welcome to Biscuits Total War. This time I am bringing you a 2 vs 2 31k rules. As my channel has now been running for 2 months now, I believe I started on the 25th of January, and as I make this recording it's now the 25th of March. I thought I'd bring you something slightly different. This is actually going to be a modded army 31k game. Now, why I've modded this army? Well, it's quite simple really. When I'm playing 31k, usually most players bring the same type of builds every time. You've got the same factions being used, and factions like Parthian, Gaul, Thrace, Spain, Dacia, Scythia, etc. they hardly ever get used, and the reason being is that when you play higher money games you tend to have a stronger infantry core. Now unfortunately those factions, they don't have that same strength infantry that things like Rome, Seleucids, Greece have, and therefore they rarely if ever get used in 31k. So what I've decided to do is that for some of those factions that aren't more commonly used, I've actually amended the roster, so I'm actually giving them an extra unit. Now it is a bit of trial and error, because what I'm trying to do is make the factions balanced. I'm not trying to make the factions overpowered, I'm not trying to cheat, I'm just trying to make the game a bit more varied. So this is actually the first time I've used this Parthian build, and as I say, it's a bit of trial and error. On this actual build I gave the Parthians Royal Pikemen. Now in hindsight I think I've actually made them a bit too strong, so in my next Parthian modded army I'm actually using the Bronze Shield Pikemen to make them more in line with the I've forgot what that faction's called now, I've got a mental blank. The Pontic army, sorry, mental blank there, sorry guys. So I'm trying to make them more in line with them. So they've got the cataphracts, they've got the same infantry. So hopefully next time it'll probably be a bit more fairer. But the guys that I'm playing with, none of them are actually clan players. They're all non-clan players. They were all really kind, that they all agreed that I could use this modded army. I explained what I was trying to do and they thought it was quite interesting, so it's nice to see some positive reactions to it. The guys that I'm playing with, a guy called Zerberus. Again, he's not in a clan, but often you might see him online. He plays a few 31k games. He's brought the Senate faction, as you can see, and he's gone for your standard 6 Praetorian Cav and 14 Urbans. With myself I've gone for your 6 cataphracts. Because I'm using Parthian, I've actually brought 3 camel cataphracts and 3 standard cataphracts, 2 archers and then 12 pikemen. Because I'm going against Rome, I've got 1 unit in loose formation and the rest in my rows. If we have a look at the players that we're going against, we've got a guy called Threelions. He was the guy I believe who hosted the game, so thanks again for letting me use this build, Threelions, and thanks again for letting me play. Threelions I believe is a subscriber to the channel. He said I believe he's quite new to 31k, but he played really well. If you check out the way he plays, you can definitely see that he's got the logic and he's got the idea on how to play 31k sensibly. I tried to do a couple of tricks against him, but it doesn't fall against my tricks. You'll see what I try and do in a few moments to try and beat him. And then we've also got EmperorCorbzer. Again, he's often online. He sometimes plays underneath Corbzer or EmperorCorbzer. He's brought 12 Sacred Band and then 6 Sacred Band Cav. Threelions has brought 6 Praetorian Cav and then 14 Urbans. So let's get the battle kick-started. Now there might be a few moments where there's no movement in the troops, probably because we're talking to one another and just explaining my mod and the reason why I've gone for this particular mod. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to run my guys forward. I want to try and link up with my ally because I don't want my flank to be exposed. As you can see, I've moved my guys into one big group, so it just makes it easier to keep the guys within formation. When you're playing as a pike unit against Rome, you want to make sure that you've got no gaps and that you've got a long line of pikes. The reason being, you don't want the Urbans to wrap around your pikes, because they wrap around your pikes if they manage to get into one-to-one melee fight with these raw pikemen, if they haven't got their pikes up, they quickly get chewed up. You want to make sure that you got your pikes down and that you got these urbans at arm length. Because if you've got your pikes down, the urbans can't get to units, and that gives you the upper hand. But once the urbans have managed to get through your pikes, they will slaughter your units. So what I've asked my ally to do, this is a little trick I try to play against Threelions. I'm going to send one of his urban cohorts into my pikes. I asked him to put him into testudo formation. My logic is, I thought, well, Threelions maybe he's quite new to this game. He might have left all of his peeler on a fire at will mode. And if he does that, he's going to waste all of his peeler on my allies testudo. So you'll see what I try to do here. So I ask Senate, please can I borrow one of your urbans, please put him into testudo and march it forward into the urbans. So he'll do that in a few moments. I've peeled off my 2 archers. I'm going to try and get some shots in at these Praetorian cav. As you can see, it's hard to damage them because they've got so much armour. I've taken down 1 horse. I now switch to fire mode in a second to do a bit more damage. And it's down to 47. So, as you can see, the Senate's got one of his guys in testudo, moving them forward. And as you can see, my ally there, Threelions, hasn't fallen for that trick. So there's nothing much else I can really do apart from do a phalanx charge. Now I know that my guys are going to get a lot of peeler thrown at them, and I know they're going to do a lot of damage, but I'm hoping that I've got enough guys there. Each unit's got about 121 men, so hopefully I might be able to just survive the onslaught of the peeler. So opposition, they've sent all their cav to one flank. I'm going to try and counter that by sending 3 of my cataphracts onto this wing. I'm hoping that I can get a decent hammer and anvil charge. Now here come the all the peeler. As you can see, it's just going to do absolute devastation to my guys. Now I did have 1 unit in loose formation, but they are absolutely wiped out. They're routed, they've gone away. Now there's a few peeler being thrown at these testudo units. My guys are out of formation. Now press down the backspace button just to get them back into formation. So if you check out my units, this is down to 87, that's down to 42, 81, 78, 84. Now if you compare that to a normal unit, which is about 122, 121, you know, that just shows you the devastation that the peeler can do. So now that I've moved 3 of my cataphracts to the wing here, Threelions has done a great little move here. He's countering what I've just done. He's peeled off 4 of his urbans to try and fend off my cataphracts. I have seen this, so in a moment I'm going to pull back my cataphracts because I don't want them to get impaled on these urbans. So whilst I move them away, he's done a nice little move here, Threelions. So he's going to peel off these 2 units at any moment now and attack my flank, which is a great move. But what he does do is a bit of an error. He gets them into a great little position there. He should really make the most of it and attack my flank, but he stands still. Now I'm not sure if he was looking at something else or maybe he was watching the other side of the battlefield, but by doing that I can now charge in my cataphracts onto this wing. That's going to cause him to peel this unit back. Now, as he's peeled that unit back, I'm now going to go in for a rear charge on these urbans with these cataphracts. It is a bit of a risky move because I know they are going to be vulnerable against a cav charge from these Praetorians, but my logic is if I can try and get a couple of these units to rout, it's going to lower the morale for these Julii units here, and therefore that cav charge from the Praetorians to do less damage to my cataphracts. I've also got these 2 units, these archers, now to switch their fire to these Julii units here. They've got the flame mode on, so they're going to be panicked by fire, as well as unhappy to see friends routing. So my guys, they've got their maces out, and they should be munching up these Praetorian cav. Threelions made a bit of a blunder here. He should have really gone to alt attack. Now, as you can see with my cataphracts, their alt attack, they've got their maces up. Those maces are going to have an armor piercing ability, which would be great against Urbans and the Praetorian cav. But a lot of these Praetorian cav, they haven't actually got their alt attack weapon out, which is the sword. They've got their normal spear, which isn't going to be as much damage to these cataphracts compared to their alt attack. So now that I've broken this side, I'm now going to go in for hammer and anvil charge. Now I'll just pause it for 2 seconds. My guys are in a wedge formation, so what I'm going to do when I do this hammer and anvil strike, I'm not going to aim for just one unit and go straight behind it. I'm actually going to go in at an angle, at almost like a 45-degree angle here, to try and hit as many units as possible with the edge of my wedge. So you'll see what I try and do here. So I'm going in, got this wedge formation here. Threelions has managed to prevent a couple of my units by charging in at a unit there to stop my cataphracts. As you can see, I've hit looks like 1, 2, 3, 4 units, and with that charge it's going to rout these 3 units, so that is going to free up this whole wing. Now these units are going to be lower their morale because their friends have now been routed. I can now take these guys out of guard mode and more aggressively wrap up this wing. Again, Threelions has done another little good move here. He sent in a couple of his urbans to try and bog down my cataphracts. I'm going to try and do exactly the same move and try and do another slice hammer and anvil charge on these urbans. But because the majority of my cataphracts have been bogged down with these urbans, I've only managed to charge in with a couple. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to retreat them back, get them away from these urbans, and then go in for a counter charge in a few moments. Again, Threelions is going to try and use his urbans to attack my cataphracts to basically prevent them from doing those hammer and anvil charges. But I have got still 5 or 4 units there against the one urban, so as I charge in with my maces out, I should be able to beat this urban unit, and the urban unit is the general unit. So if I can rout this unit here, again that's going to lower the morale for these urbans here and make it easier for my guys to go in for a hammer and anvil charge to really finalise and take out Threelions. So I've got one of my archer units back. I'm just using that to do some flame shots, again to lower the morale of these urbans. Going in for one last cav charge here, and the minute these guys impact onto these urbans, they should rout. There we go. So they're routed. Threelions has now admitted defeat, so it's really well played with Threelions there. He did a lot of good moves with his urbans. You can see what he was trying to do. He didn't waste his peeler on the testudo, and he managed to peel off a few urbans to try and chase down and try and bog down my cataphracts. So that was really well played on behalf of Threelions. I dare say if my pikes were bronze shields, he would have probably even taken out even more of my units than what he did. So really well played to Threelions, and once again thanks a lot for letting me use this mod army. At the moment it's just Corbzer and Zerberus, I believe, fighting. In a moment I'll pull all my guys back together again just to see how many units I've still got left. I'll just put it onto double speed now just to speed it up for you guys. There's nothing much Corbzer can really do at this stage. He's only got about 3 units left. He could put them into a tight box formation and they'd probably survive a bit longer against these urbans if he did that, but I think he knows that the battle's pretty much lost, because even if he kills these urbans, he still have to munch his way through all of these pikemen. So in a second I'll move my guys back over here. So I'll be quite interested to see what you guys think of this battle and what your opinions are to modern armies. Again, I'll just emphasise that I'm not trying to cheat, I'm not trying to make factions overpowered, I'm just trying to make sure that there's more variance in the game, and I'm not trying to change the rules of 31k. If people do want to play this variation of these modded armies, of course I'd always double check before I bought a modded army that the opponents were happy to do that. And again, they're free to copy my armies. I know there's a few Heaven members in our clan that I've actually given this mods to, and have managed to play a few games. It's quite interesting, some of the games, and I'll post up another couple of them so you can see exactly how they all panned out. I think I have made the Parthian, the Britons, a bit too powerful, and I'll show you a little replay that I had with them. It is good fun though. Of course, myself being British, is always nice to actually win at the Britons, and I'll post up one of their videos in a bit so you can check out how that battle went. But I hope you guys enjoyed the game. It was a clear victory on our side. I got in just under 1,000 kills. Threelions got in 1,000 kills, as did Corbzer, and my ally Zerberus got in 1,372 kills. So it was a pretty even match. I dare say that Threelions might have been able to beat me if I had bronze shields. He got in a lot of kills, but I had just so many units at the start that he needed to kill a lot more guys to finish off my army. So I hope you guys enjoyed that game. Please leave me a little comment. It'd be interesting to see what your thoughts are. And once again, thank you so much for the subscriptions. Thank you so much for the likes and the comments. I really do appreciate it. And if you have any replays you want to send me, please just let me know. I'm sure I can get them on the channel as soon as possible. All the best, guys, and thanks once again for your time. Okay, bye now.